I'm going to walk you through some of my biggest business lessons, sales and marketing breakthroughs that I've had over the last couple of years. And this will be a long one, but I hope it's as helpful for you as it has been for me and insightful as it has been for me. So without further ado, let's get into this. First, could you make $1 million in 90 minutes? Well, a few years ago, Russell Brunson set a world record for selling $3.2 million in 90 minutes. He got 1,000 people out of 9,000 to accept his offer. But that's not the impressive part. The impressive part is that he didn't have to convince a single person to buy the product. You see, amateurs convince, experts create contrast. And let me explain. Once these people heard about the product and imagined what their lives would be like if they had it, they didn't want that movie they made in their mind to stop playing. They created an assumption they believed it was true. The contrast comes in from them comparing their current situation to that movie that they made. And why does this work? Because pain cuts twice as deep when you know the opposite pleasure. And it's kind of like when you imagine how much more success you will have and how others would look at you if you knew how to do this. You see, Russell didn't sell anything. The audience, they sold themselves. The secret? Let them write their own story. You merely provide the pen. Did you know the most powerful word in sales isn't free, new, or even you? A study of 500,000 sales calls revealed something fascinating. The top 1% of salespeople use one word that literally rewires their prospect's brain. But that's not the interesting part. When researchers studied brain scans of people hearing this word, their guard instantly dropped. You see, amateurs focus on features and benefits. Experts trigger emotions. This one word activates the same part of your brain that lights up when you hear your own name. The word, because. See, your brain is hardwired to accept what comes after because, even if the reason makes no logical sense. In a famous Harvard study, people were 34% more likely to let someone cut in line when they used the word because, even if the reason was because I need to make copies. Kind of like how you're wondering right now how much more you could sell because you understand the psychology. Top performers don't just use words, they use neural triggers. The secret? Don't just make statements. Always bridge with because. I'm sure you know the weirdest thing about selling. The less you talk about your product, the more of it you'll sell. A Stanford study showed something fascinating about framing. They presented the same surgery to different doctors with a 90% survival rate or a 10% mortality rate. But that's not the shocking part. Doctors were twice as likely to recommend the exact same surgery when they heard 90% survival. Nothing about the surgery changed, same one, just the frame. You see, amateurs dump product features. Experts, we shape perception. Your brain doesn't make decisions based on information. It makes decisions based on how that information is positioned. Watch this. This investment could make you 20% returns versus not making this investment means missing out on 20% gains. Kind of like how you're realizing right now that all your best purchases weren't about the product at all. You see, top performers don't sell products, they sell frames. The secret? Stop selling what it is, start framing what it means. Ever notice how you can't sleep when there's one piece of the puzzle missing? Your brain is obsessed with closing gaps, my friend, and that's the key to selling anything. You see, a Yale professor tested this with two groups. One got full information about the product, the other got everything except one crucial detail. But here's the crazy part. The group with the missing piece was 3 times more likely to buy and willing to pay more. You see, amateurs try to give all of the answers. We call these people tour guides. Experts, we create strategic gaps. When there's a gap between what people know and what they want to know, they'll do almost anything to close it. It's like when I tell you I know the one word that instantly doubles sales, but wait to reveal it. Your mind is already racing you to figure it out, isn't it? Kind of like how you're wondering right now what other psychological triggers you're missing out on. You see, top performers don't fill gaps, they create them. The secret, don't give them everything they say they want. Give them just enough to need more. And if you want to know that one word that doubles sales and the other triggers your competitors don't want you finding out about, here's something that'll mess with your mind. Without hatred, love wouldn't be love. It would just be default. Think about it. If you didn't have things you hated, how would you know what you love? But here's where it gets interesting. A neuroscience study showed that your brain doesn't actually register good or bad. Now, we get morality from our parents and our surroundings as a kid. You see, the brain only registers difference, contrast, change. You see, amateurs, they try to avoid the negatives. Experts understand that contrast creates meaning. Without darkness, light means nothing. Without silence, music is just noise. Without failure, success it feels empty. It's like eating your favorite food. If you had it every day, it wouldn't be your favorite, it'd be boring. But after a week without it, pure ecstasy. Kind of like how you're realizing right now that everything you love, you only love because you know it's opposite. So top performers don't just pursue positives. They understand the power of contrast. In the secret, without the shadow, you can't see the light. The most persuasive people in history never used logic to change minds. They used something far more powerful. When Martin Luther King gave his dream speech, he didn't list statistics. He painted a picture so vivid people could taste it. But here's what most miss. The human brain can't tell the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined. You see, amateurs present information, and we call those people tour guides. Experts create mental movies. It's when you tell someone about a product, their guard goes up. But when you help them imagine a scene, their mind says, open up. Watch this. Instead of saying, this course has 8 modules, say, imagine walking into your next meeting knowing exactly how to command the room. Kind of like right now, you're seeing yourself using these exact words tomorrow. You see, top performers don't just sell products, they direct mental movies. The secret, the more real it feels in their mind, the more real it becomes in their wallet. So if you would like to master the art of mental cinema, go to masonvanmeter.com and opt into the Mathematics newsletter. That way you always know what to say. And that's why the most dangerous lie in sales is that closing is the most important part. Master chess players know something salespeople don't. 90% of games are won or lost in the first 4 moves. Everything after that is just a reaction. But here's the real mind bender. A study of 100,000 sales calls showed the first 12 seconds determine the entire outcome of the call. You see, amateurs obsess over closing techniques. Experts, we engineer perfect openings. It's like the big domino. When you nail the opening, closing becomes automatic. Like a row of dominoes. Tip the first one right, the rest fall naturally. Watch this, here's a bad opener. Got a minute to talk about master opener. Most people watching this already know something's wrong with their sales process. Kind of like how you're realizing right now that every sale you ever lost was actually lost in the first few seconds. Top performers don't perfect closes. They master openings. The secret? By the time most people think about closing, the game's already over. Sun Tzu said every battle is won or lost before it's ever fought. The most dangerous lie in sales? That closing is the most important part. Master chess players and ancient warriors know something most salespeople don't. 90% of games are won or lost in the first 4 moves. And everything after that is just a reaction. But here's the real mind bender. A study of over 100,000 sales calls showed the first 12 seconds determine the entire outcome. Just like Sun Tzu taught all those years ago. He said, supreme excellence isn't winning every battle. It's winning without fighting at all. When you position perfectly at the start, resistance disappears. The sale closes itself. No battle needed. All right? Amateurs focus on combat tactics, objection handling, closing techniques. Masters focus on positioning. Make the battle unnecessary. Kind of like how you're realizing right now that every tough sale was actually lost before you ever started talking. Top performers don't perfect closes, they perfect positions. The secret? By the time most people think about closing, the war's already over. And Sun Tzu says, know thyself, know thy enemy, 1,000 battles, 1,000 victories. But in 10,000 sales calls, I discovered something terrifying. 93% of salespeople don't know either. They don't truly understand their prospects' deepest fears, and they haven't even faced their own. You see, master chess players also know something most salespeople don't. The first 4 moves determine everything. But here's the real question. Moves based on what? On one side, what keeps your prospect awake at 3 a.m.? On the other, what's the real reason you're afraid to ask the hard questions? Here's a teaching moment. Watch this. Amateur opener. Let me tell you about our features. Master opener. You're here because something specific isn't working. Let's talk about that. It's kind of like how you're realizing right now that every lost sale wasn't about your product. It was about what you didn't know about them or yourself. Top performers don't start with pitching. They start with deep understanding. The secret? The battle isn't won with tactics. It's won with insight. And if Sun Tzu said, appear weak when you are strong and strong when you are weak. But most salespeople do the complete opposite. They try to prove themselves in the first 30 seconds. And in doing so, they've already lost. The master chess player doesn't show their strength immediately. They let their opponent feel comfortable, secure control. But here's what's fascinating. When you lead with, I'm not sure if we're a fit, your prospect suddenly wants to prove they are. When you say, this might not be for you, they lean in to show you why it is. Watch this. Here's an amateur opener. Let me show you why we're the best. Ugh. Here's a master opener. To be honest, our solution isn't for everyone. Notice how your guard dropped the moment I suggested this might not be for you? How you're more curious now than if I tried to impress you. Top performers don't display power, they redirect it. The secret? When you try to look strong, you appear weak. When you appear weak, you become strong. If you want to, Sun Tzu said, when the enemy reinforces everywhere, he will everywhere be weak. Watch what happens when a prospect raises an objection. The amateur salesperson panic sends reinforcement, features, benefits, testimonials, discounts, everything they've got. But in spreading their defense so thin, they expose themselves everywhere. You see, master chess players know something fascinating about defense. The more pieces you move to protect yourself, the more vulnerable you become. When a prospect says, it's too expensive, the amateur throws out ROI calculations, competitor comparisons, special offers, payment plans, and feature lists, and in that desperate scatter, they lost all their power. But watch this. Here's the amateur response. But wait, let me show you all the value. Here's the master response. You're right, it is expensive. Why did you agree to this call? Notice how a single focused question is more powerful than 1,000 defensive answers? We refocus on the central message or strategy and reinforce it. You see, top performers don't defend everywhere. They concentrate their force on the real battle. The secret? When you try to answer every objection, you answer none of them. So if you want to master the art of strategic objection handling, go to masonvanmeter.com and opt into the Mathematics newsletter. That way you always know what to say, and that's why Sun Tzu said, when the enemy reinforces everywhere, he will everywhere be weak. Here's what master negotiators understand about human psychology, that when you get someone defending multiple positions, they lose their grip on the main position. Watch what happens when you introduce small, manageable objections. The prospect starts deploying their mental resources everywhere. You go here and you go there, defend the stand. They defend their timeline. They justify their budget. They explain their process. They clarify their priorities. And in that moment of scattered attention, their core objection stands unguarded, ripe for the overcoming, the reframing. Watch this. Here's the amateur. Let's address your price concern. Here's the master response. Before we discuss pricing, help me understand. How soon do you need this implemented? Who else needs to sign off? What happens if you do nothing? Where does this fit in with your priorities? Notice how your original objection feels less important now that you're thinking about all these other aspects. You see, top performers don't attack the main objection. They dissolve it by dispersing the prospect's mental forces. The secret? When they defend everywhere, they can defend nowhere effectively. Sun Tzu said, build your opponent a golden bridge to retreat across. And most salespeople think closing is about pushing forward, but the master knows it's about offering a graceful way back. People don't say no because they lack interest. They say no because they fear being trapped. Watch what happens when you offer an elegant exit, a bridge out. If at any point this isn't right for you, we can pause or stop. And suddenly the walls come down, because when people know they can leave, they usually choose to stay. just like this video. So watch this. Here's an amateur closer. So are you ready to move forward? Here's the master closer. Based on what we've discussed, you might want to start small and test this in one department. And if it doesn't work out, you can always scale back. Notice how you're feeling more relaxed right now? That's because you know you have a choice. You can walk away at any time. Top performers don't trap their prospects. They show them the door and watch them choose to stay. The secret? When you build the bridge to retreat, they'll often cross it toward you instead. So if you want to master the art of pressure-free closing, go to Sun Tzu said, build your opponent a golden bridge to retreat across. But here's what's fascinating about that principle in sales. The bridge isn't away from you, it's away from the beliefs that are hurting them. Your prospect isn't defending a position against you, they're trapped behind their own walls of their own making. We can handle it internally, it's too expensive, now isn't the right time. The amateur tries to break down these walls with brute force and catapults and trebuchets. The master, we build a bridge right over them. Watch this, here's the amateur response. Let me prove why that belief is wrong and I'll convince you. Here's what the master says, the expert. He says, let's explore where that belief leads in 6 months. What happens to your team's morale? How many opportunities slip away? What's the real cost of waiting? Notice what's happening. I'm not attacking your position. I'm showing you how to escape it. Top performers don't fight objections. They illuminate the painful future of holding on to them, then offer a bridge to something better. The secret? Your product isn't the obstacle, it's the escape route. Want to know the strangest shift that doubled my sales overnight? I stopped trying to sell. Instead, I started treating every prospect like they'd already bought and succeeded. I went over here someone's head. Harvard researchers studied this phenomenon with some fascinating results, but here's the mind-bending part. When you genuinely believe someone's already succeeded with your solution, your entire energy changes, your desperation disappears, and your confidence soars. And prospects can feel it, you see. Amateurs try to convince. Experts simply assume success. When you're catching up with an old friend about their success, you don't sell. You don't push, you just naturally explore their journey. Watch this. Instead of, would you be interested in our coaching? Try, when you implement this strategy, what's the first thing you'll notice changing? Kind of like how you were already seeing yourself using this tomorrow, aren't you? You see, top performers don't chase sales, they assume the sell and explore the success. The secret? Stop selling the product. Start celebrating their inevitable victory. If you want, every purchase is a confession. When someone buys a weight loss program, they're not just buying meal plans. They're admitting something deeply personal. A fascinating psychology study showed something powerful. The bigger the admission, the bigger the reward needs to be. You see, amateurs sell features. Experts make the reward tower over admission. Imagine this, you sell dating courses, and when someone buys your dating program, they're silently saying, I need help with love. And that's huge, that's vulnerable. They're admitting that they aren't good at something. Watch this, instead of learn to date better, say, finally feel what it's like to be someone's first choice and their last thought at night. Kind of like how right now, you're thinking about what your customers are really admitting when they buy from you. You see, top performers don't minimize the admission, they maximize the transformation. The secret? The bigger their silent confession, the more powerful your promised liberation needs to be. If you're brave enough to admit it, be bold enough to solve it completely. When someone buys fitness coaching, they're admitting, I don't like how I look. So you better promise more than just weight loss. Promise them the confidence to love every mirror they pass. And if you want to master the psychology of transformational selling, go to masonvanmeter.com and opt in to the Mouthmatics newsletter. And that's why the brutal truth about selling, every dollar has a choice. Every dollar they give you is a dollar they can't spend elsewhere. That $2,000 program you're selling, that's their vacation fund, their home repair money, their kids' summer camp. But here's what most miss. People don't make buying decisions, they make trading decisions. Amateurs sell value, experts acknowledge the trade, because when you pretend your price exists in a vacuum, you lose trust. When you're acknowledging what they're giving up, you gain respect. Watch. I know this $2,000 could go to a lot of places. And it should only come here if you believe this will generate the biggest return for your life. That's what separates six-figure months from six-figure years. And if you want to master, your best products don't need what you sell. Strange, right? Because desperate people can't afford you. And successful people don't need you. But here's what most miss. That sweet spot, people who are doing well enough to pay, but ambitious enough to want more. You see, amateurs chase the desperate. Experts attract the ambitious. When someone's business is failing, your $5,000 program is impossible. When someone's crushing it, your $5,000 program is unnecessary. But that person doing $30,000 months who wants to hit $100,000, they have the cash and the drive. That's why Hope Marketing is fucking dead. Stop selling to people who need you. Start selling to people who want you. So if you want to master high-ticket client psychology, go to masonvanmeter.com and opt into the Mathematics newsletter. Master the art of knowing what to say. And that's why the ear never forgets what the heart has heard. Think about it. You don't remember what ad you saw yesterday, but you remember exactly how your first love said your name. Here's what most miss. Logic, it makes people think. Emotion makes people remember. Amateurs sell with facts. Experts speak to the heart. That client testimonial about 37.2 ROI, it's forgotten by lunch. But when they say, I finally feel worthy of success, that echo, it lasts forever. Watch what happens in sales calls. Say our program has 47 modules. They nod and forget. Say, imagine never doubting yourself again. Their eyes light up. Their breath catches. The ear remembers. Because the heart doesn't speak in numbers. It speaks in goosebumps, in held breath, in watery eyes. Want people to always remember you because of how you made them feel? The ear never forgets what the heart has heard. Remember your worst rejection? Of course you do, word for word, years later. But here's what most don't get about dating in sales. You see, your mind might forget a face, but your heart, it remembers every whispered, not you, nice meeting you, I have a boyfriend. You see, amateurs focus on pickup lines. Experts understand emotional imprints. Same with sales. That's why she doesn't remember what you wore on date 3, but she remembers exactly how you made her feel. Same with clients. He forgot their restaurant name, but he remembers how you laughed at his dumb joke when he was nervous. You see, the heart keeps receipts of every time someone made you feel small, of every time someone made you feel seen. And that's why when you finally meet someone who speaks to your heart, your ears recognize a language they've been waiting for, not the empty, you're beautiful, but the breath-catching, I see you. Because the heart doesn't track time, it tracks moments that made it skip a beat. And if you want to master emotional connection, I'll be brave after the storm passes. That's what they all say. Waiting for perfect conditions, waiting for confidence, waiting for certainty. Here's what they miss. Courage isn't the absence of storms, it's the decision to sail anyway. You see, amateurs wait for calm, smooth seas. Experts, we learn to navigate the waves. That promotion you want, that business you dream of, that person you can't stop thinking about. They're all on the other side of the storm, not waiting for you after it passes. Because here's the truth. The storm isn't blocking your path. The storm is your path. You see, every hero's journey has thunder. Every love story has lightning. Every success story has rain. I'll be brave when becomes I'll be brave now. And if you, the chess master, sees both moves at once, the beginning and the end, the opening and the checkmate. And here's what most miss about high-level sales. You're not just selling the now. You're selling the future. You're selling both simultaneously. You see, amateurs push forward only. Experts, we tug and pull from both ends. Here's where you are. Here's where you'll be. That's linear thinking. That's amateur hour. Masters do this. Here's where you'll be, so this is what you need now, present, which makes the future inevitable. You build the bridge. It's chess, not checkers. While they're thinking one move ahead, you're planning the entire sequence. The opening. What if success was inevitable? Here's the middle game. Here's the exact path. The end game, which is why we start here. The close isn't at the end, it's woven into the opening. You see, the checkmate was set up in move one. And I was shocked when I found out selling occurs in two directions at the same time. Now this is why most salespeople are playing checkers and not chess, right? Because most people sell forward only. Here's where you are, here's where you'll be. Here's how we'll get there. But here's what most miss. The sweet spot is selling backwards and forwards simultaneously, setting up the checkmate in the opening move. Amateurs think linear, experts think in sequences. When you're only selling forward, you're playing checkers. When you're weaving past and future together, you're playing chess. But that salesperson who closes 80% of their calls, they're seeing the whole board at once. That's why step-by-step selling is dead. Stop selling in one direction. Stop selling unilaterally. Start selling from both ends. If you want to master strategic sales psychology, go to masonvanmeter.com and opt into the Mathematics newsletter to learn and master the art of knowing what to say. But strange thing about adaptability, think about Alexander the Great. His own generals started doubting him, not because he was failing, but because he was succeeding differently. And here's what most miss. The more environments you master, the less people recognize your method. Amateurs, they stay consistent. Experts, they stay effective. That company that lost its way actually found a new one, but the old guard couldn't see it. When Alexander fought in Persia, he didn't use Greek tactics. He became Persian. He used their playbook against him. When he reached India, he became Indian. That's why most people plateau. They're proud of their signature style, while masters are proud of our flexibility. Because greatness isn't about being consistent, it's about being consistently effective. You were missing the other half of the equation, and now everything will make sense. Even when it makes you unrecognizable. And if you want to master adaptive, water can teach you everything about sales, but most people completely misunderstand Sun Tzu's wisdom. He says, just as water retains no constant shape, in warfare, there are no constant conditions. Here's what most miss. The greatest salespeople, they don't master scripts, they master formlessness. Amateurs perfect their pitch. Experts perfect their flow. I call them mathematicians. Every prospect is a new landscape. Every objection is a new terrain. Every close is a new battle. Stop trying to memorize the map. Learn to become the water. If you want to master fluid sales, go to everything you know about sales is now dead wrong. But here's the most truly terrifying part, is that most experts are still teaching tactics from a world that no longer exists. Here's what most miss. Your proven scripts, they were written for ghosts. Your closing techniques, they're made for zombies. And your objection handlers, they're out there fighting yesterday's wars. Amateurs perfect old methods. Experts adapt to new realities, like water finding new paths. You see, success leaves old maps behind. That's why tried and true is now tried and dead. And why formlessness beats formulas. If you want to master modern sales psychology and stay up to date and not get swept out to distant sea, go to masonvanmeter.com and opt into the Mathematics newsletter. That way you always know what to say in every situation. Everything you know about sales is now obsolete, but here's the truly terrifying part. Most experts are still teaching tactics from a world that died yesterday. Did you not read the obituary? Here's what most miss. While you perfect that cold call script, the landscape is melting beneath your feet. Amateurs master the known, experts navigate the unknown. Your prospect's world changed this morning. Your sales playbook, that thing expired last night. Your proven system is already ancient history. Stop learning how to sell in yesterday's world. Start learning to adapt in today's. If you want to master modern sales psychology and become adaptable, your prospect's pain hits different after they've tasted success. But most marketers miss this psychological trigger completely. Once someone knows what better feels like, worse becomes unbearable. Here's what most miss. Show a CEO smooth operations, their chaos now hurts twice as bad. Amateurs, they sell solutions. Experts sell the gap between pleasure and pain. That's why free trials work. That's why demos convert. That's why try before you buy destroys willpower. Because pain, it's not just about suffering. It's about knowing what you're missing. Stop selling the Band-Aid, start selling the paradise that they just lost. If you want to master pain point psychology, go to masonvanmeter.com and opt into the Mathematics newsletter. Ever notice how pain hits different after you've tasted heaven? But most marketers miss this delicious dark truth. Once someone's danced with better, worse becomes pure torture. Here's what most miss. Show the CEO the symphony of smooth operations. Now their daily chaos screams twice as loud. You see, amateurs sell simple solutions. Masters sell the haunting echo of paradise lost. That's why free trials aren't just offers, they're sweet poison. That's why demos aren't presentations, they're paradise samples. Because true pain isn't just the ache of now, it's the ghost of pleasure whispering, remember when? Stop selling Band-Aids for their bleeding, start selling the memory of when they were whole. If you want to master the poetry of pain points, go to Pain Cuts Twice as Deep when you know the opposite pleasure. But most marketers miss why this truth is so lethal. Lost $1 million in revenue this year? It hurts. Lost $1 million after your best year ever? Devastates. Here's what most miss. Amateurs sell the solution. Masters, they sell the contrast. That first taste of success, it's not just a win, it's a weapon. Because true pain isn't about what hurts now, it's about what you had before. A hungry man just wants some food. But a king who became a beggar, he wants death. Stop selling improvements, start selling the gap between heaven and hell. And if you want to master psychological contrast and open gaps people must close by giving you money, go to masonvanmeter.com and opt into the Mathematics newsletter, The Art of Knowing What to Say. Words create worlds. This is why most sales calls die before they even start and pick up. But the darkest truth about language in sales, your prospect isn't living in reality, they're living in the world your words build. Here's what most miss. Say reduce costs, they see spreadsheets. Say protect your legacy, they see their children's future. Amateurs, they focus on features. Masters architect realities. Budget friendly creates a world of limitation. Investment in growth creates a world of possibility. Risk management creates a world of fear. Opportunity optimization creates a world of potential. Stop selling in their world, start building the world where they already bought. Words create worlds. Why everything you think you know is language all the way down. But here's the terrifying truth about reality. You're not living in the world, you're living in your description of it. Here's what most miss. Say, I'm behind schedule. Your world becomes a race against time. Say, I'm right on my path. Your world becomes a journey of discovery. Amateurs use language. Masters understand they are being used by it. I have to, that creates a prison. I get to, that creates an opportunity. What if I fail? Creates a nightmare. What if I grow? Creates a garden. Your morning isn't busy or peaceful, it's exactly what you called it. Your life isn't hard or blessed, it's precisely what your words painted it to be. Stop living in handed down descriptions. Start authoring the reality you want to inhabit. Heaven cannot brook two sons, nor earth two masters. Why your prospects maybe is killing your sales. But here's what Alexander the Great knew that most miss. A throne demands a body count. Victory requires victims. Your prospect isn't weighing options, they're choosing who dies. Amateurs pitch benefits. Masters orchestrate eliminations. Show them their current solution, make it cast shadows. Show them their other options, make them dim the stars. Show them your offering, make it a rising sun. A king doesn't share his crown, and a sun doesn't share its sky. Your solution shouldn't share its throne. Stop being an option, start being the extinction event. Because heaven cannot brook two sons, and your prospect cannot serve two masters. If you want to appear weak, win strong, and appear strong when you are weak. Here's why most marketing dies in the bragging. But here's what Sun Tzu knew about warfare that most marketers could never grasp. Power doesn't announce itself, it whispers. You see, market leaders scream about being number one, they're bleeding market share. Startups quietly solve impossible problems, they're about to devour industries. Amateurs, they flex features. Masters plant doubt in their own abilities, then deliver devastation. We're just a small team who rebuilt the industry. This is our first product. after 20 years mastering the craft. We might not be the biggest, but we're while the giants can't sleep. The loudest voice in the room? Empty throne. The quiet ones taking notes? They already own the kingdom. Stop advertising your strength. Start making them underestimate your power. Because true power, it doesn't need neon signs. It needs nervous competitors. If you want to master strategic marketing deception, go to masonvanmeter.com, opt into the Mathematics newsletter. That way you can keep the competition away. If you can't sell against yourself, you'll never sell for yourself. Why your inner critic is your greatest sales trainer. But here's what most don't dare to see. Every objection your prospect has, you thought it first. Every doubt they harbor, you hosted that demon longer. Amateurs run from their own shadows. Masters learn to sell through them and embrace them. This price is too high? Try selling it to your own empty bank account first. This solution is untested? Try pitching it to your own skepticism first. Why should I trust you? Try convincing your mirror before the market. The prospect across the table? Just an echo of your midnight doubts. Their resistance? Your rehearsal stage. Stop fearing your own inner objections. Start using them as your sparring partner. Because the hardest sell, it's not to the market, it's to the merchant in the mirror. And Supreme excellence consists of breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. Here's why the best sell is the one that closes itself. But first, here's what Sun Tzu knew about resistance that most salespeople couldn't possibly ever grasp. Force creates friction. Friction creates heat. Heat creates rejection. Amateurs push for the close. Masters make closing the prospect's only escape. Have you considered? They already did. Let me convince you, you just lost them. Here's why you should. They stopped listening. Their ears clogged from the last salesperson who told them that. Position your solution? No. Position their pain. Paint their future? No. Let them paint their nightmare. Push for a decision? No. Make decision unbearable. The greatest victory? When they convince themselves. The perfect close? When they beg to buy. Stop fighting objections. Start making resistance. Isolate them. Because supreme excellence, it's not in the battle. It's in making the battle unnecessary. If you want to master, engage people with what they expect. While the greatest sales hook is the one they write themselves. You see, here's what Sun Tzu knew about human nature that most marketers could never grasp. The mind craves patterns. Patterns create comfort. Comfort creates blindness. Amateurs disrupt expectations. Masters feed them. Then shatter the world. Yes, we're just another software company until we show them the impossible. Sure, here's your standard demo until reality bends. Of course, typical industry pricing until value breaks the mathematics. Let them see their story. They'll write your script. Let them feel in control. They'll hand you the wheel. Let them think they know. They'll miss your magic. The greatest misdirection when they direct themselves. The perfect surprise when they craft their own setup. Stop fighting their assumptions. Start using them as your Trojan horse. Because true influence, it doesn't break patterns. It makes patterns break them. Your sales team isn't your workforce. They're your legacy. Most leaders demand loyalty. Few understand its price. But even fewer are willing to pay it. Watch a top performer leave. That's not turnover, that's betrayal. And betrayal, it's always personal. Amateurs build compensation plans. Masters build families. Some feed commission sheets, others feed souls. Take care of your family emergency first while protecting their pipeline. Let's invest in your growth while others demand numbers. I'll handle the client. You go deal with that while they recover their confidence from the last one. As Sun Tzu knew, treat your men as you would your own beloved sons, and they will follow you into the deepest valley. Your real assets, they're not in your fucking CRM. They're having doubts at midnight, fighting fear on cold calls, carrying quota weight alone. The greatest sales leadership, when they run through the walls for you, not because of fear, because of love. Stop managing numbers, start raising and training warriors. Because true leadership, it's not about reports, it's about relationships that outlast recessions. And if you want to master, you're not afraid of rejection, you're afraid of being right about yourself. Most sellers count their commission, few count their courage. Even fewer count the real cost, the cost of finding out who they are. That cold call, it's not about the prospect's no, it's about your maybe. That follow-up, it's not about their silence, it's about your noise. What's the worst that could happen? You'll find out exactly who you were, feared you were. Why aren't they responding? Because you're still responding to the past. What if I fail? You already are by not failing enough. As Sun Tzu knew, who wishes to fight must first count the cost. Have you counted yours? The cost of safety, your dreams, the cost of comfort, your potential, the cost of certainty, your destiny. The greatest battle, it's not with the market. It's with the merchant's demons. The perfect victory, when losing doesn't scare you anymore. Stop fearing worst cases, start using them as fuel. Because true selling, it's not about surviving rejection, it's about being unrejectable. And if you want to master, your sales process isn't obvious, it's invisible. Amateur sellers show their hand, masters make their moves disappear. The difference? Not skill, subtlety. That casual conversation was carefully choreographed. That random insight, precisely planned. That spontaneous solution, it was strategically staged. Just checking in while mapping their pain points, curious about your thoughts while leading their conclusions. Whatever works best for you while architecting their only escape. As Sun Tzu knew, the whole secret lies in confusing the enemy so that he cannot fathom our real intent. Your real selling, it happens between words, in pregnant pauses, through strategic silence, with invisible frameworks. The greatest close when they think they're not buying, not being sold. The perfect process when they can't find its edges. Stop showing your playbook, start making it invisible. Because true influence, it's not in what they see, it's in what they never notice. Knowledge isn't your problem. Execution is your war. You see, most sellers, they know the steps. Few take them. Even fewer master them. You know to follow up, but your drafts folder is still full. You know to prospect daily, but your mornings fill with busy. You know to ask for referrals, but your voice still shakes. I'll start Monday while opportunities age. After this coffee, while competitors close. When I feel ready, while time builds your tomb. As Sun Tzu knew, one may know how to conquer without being able to do it. Your real enemy? Not ignorance. It's the gap between knowing and doing. Learning and earning. Understanding and standing. The greatest trap? When knowledge becomes your comfort zone. The perfect excuse? I need to learn more first. Stop collecting wisdom, start collecting scars. Because true selling, it's not in your head, it's in your hands. And the pipeline isn't empty, it's waiting for your first step. Most sellers see mountains, few see footprints. Even fewer start walking. That enterprise deal, it starts with one email. That market dominance you want, one cold call away. That President's Club dream, one more dial. I'll build my pipeline later. While opportunity slips away. The timing isn't perfect. While competitors take ground, the market is tough, while others take steps. As Lao Tzu knew, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Your real obstacle, it's not the market, not the economy, not the competition. It's the space between your chair and your phone. The greatest sales success never started big. The perfect quarter, built on imperfect actions. Stop waiting for momentum, start creating it. Because true selling, it's not about the destination. It's about today's first dial. If you want your next big deal, it's hidden in today's small actions. Most sellers chase whales, few nurture the minnows. Even fewer see the connection. That Fortune 500 account, it was once a cold email. That $1 million client, it started with a 5-minute phone call. The market domination, begin with a simple, hello. This lead's too small while ignoring tomorrow's giant. Not worth my time while missing your next big reference. I need bigger deals while stepping over gold. As Sun Tzu knew, plan for what is difficult while it is easy and do what is great while it is small. Your real opportunity? It's not in the most obvious places. It's in small accounts growing, tiny problems expanding, minor pain points festering. The greatest deals were planted as seeds. The perfect clients started as projects. Stop hunting elephants, start growing them. Because true selling, it's not about finding big deals, it's about building them. And if your best sales when they never feel sold. Most sellers push, few pull, even fewer just dissolve resistance. That hard close creates harder walls. That pressure pitch builds stronger shields. Those objection battles just create better soldiers. But I need to be aggressive. While they fortify their defenses, I have to overcome objections. While creating more resistance, selling is war, while peace was always profitable. As Sun Tzu knew, supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. Your real power, it's not in confrontation, it's in conversation. Not in persuasion, but in permission. Not in forcing, but flowing. The greatest influence, when they feel no pressure. The perfect close, when they ask to buy. Stop pushing its walls, start making them dissolve. Because true selling, it's not about breaking resistance. It's about making it irrelevant. And if everyone's obsessed with proven sales scripts these days, but here's the uncomfortable truth. Those tactics are actually killing your deals. Most sellers collect techniques. They let them sit and collect dust on the shelf. Few understand strategy. Even fewer can grasp the difference. Those closing lines, they're just surface noise. Those objection handles, mechanical moves. That sales playbook, it's a map without direction, man. Give me the magic words while missing the deeper game. What's the perfect script, Mason, while strategy stays hidden? How do I handle this while patterns pass by unseen? You see, as Sun Tzu knew, strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory. Tactics without strategy, that's the noise before defeat. Your real edge, not in what you say, but why you say it. It's not in your moves, but in your meaning. Not in your actions, but in your intent. The greatest sellers see patterns, not plays. The perfect approach, when every word serves strategy. Stop collecting tactics, start mastering strategy. Because true selling, it's not about what you do, it's about why you do it. Every sales rep is fighting for the obvious opportunities right now, but here's what they're missing. The biggest deals are hiding in the blind spots. Most sellers swarm hot leads, the people closest to the checkout. Few explore cold corners. Even fewer see the pattern. That RFP race, a bloodbath of competition. That dream account, everyone's dream. That perfect prospect has 100 voicemails, dude. Leave them alone. I need to be where everyone is while overlooking gold mines that are empty. That's where the fucking money is, while ignoring untapped markets. Follow the crowd while missing the signals. As Sun Tzu knew, attack him where he is unprepared, appear where you were not expected. Your real advantage, not in the obvious places, but in the shadows. Not in the front door, but in the side entrance. Not in direct attacks, but flanking moves. The greatest opportunity where others aren't looking. The perfect timing when no one's watching. Stop following the herd, start finding the gaps. Because true selling, it's not about beating competition, it's about making them irrelevant. Every sales rep is desperately trying to control their outcomes, but here's what most of them get completely backwards. Your prospect is literally giving you their buying blueprint. Most sellers follow scripts. Few follow breadcrumbs. Even fewer read the signs. That prospect's objection, it's not a wall, it's a window. Their hesitation, it's not resistance, it's a roadmap. Their questions, not obstacles, but opportunities. I need to guide this conversation while they spell out their path. I must control the process while missing their signals. Follow my sales system while ignoring their system. As Sun Tzu knew, to secure ourselves against defeat lies in our own hands. But the opportunity to defeat the enemy is provided by the enemy himself. Your real power, it's not in your fucking pitch, but in their words. Not in your fucking process, but in their pattern. It's not in your system, but in their signals. The greatest close, when you let them show you how they want to be sold. The perfect pitch, when you mirror their map. Stop forcing your way, start following theirs. Because true selling, it's not about the perfect script. It's about reading their perfect script. Everyone's searching for that one perfect sales script that works every time. But here's the brutal truth. That proven template is exactly why you're failing. Most sellers Control-Alt-C, Control-Alt-V. They copy-paste. Few customize, even fewer truly adapt. That winning pitch, it's dead on arrival. That proven close, it expired yesterday. That perfect script, perfect for yesterday. Just tell me what works while markets evolve. Give me the formula while prospects change. Show me the template while opportunities shift. You see, as Sun Tzu knew, when I have won a victory, I do not repeat my tactics, but I respond to circumstances in an infinite variety of ways. Your real edge, it's not in repetition, but in response. It's not in templates, but in timing. It's not in formulas, but in fluidity. The greatest sellers, they never sell the same way twice. That perfect approach when every sale writes its own script. Stop copying victories, start creating them. Because true selling, it's about perfecting one's way, mastering the infinite ways. Everyone thinks closing big deals requires massive effort and resources, but here's the mind-bending truth. Sometimes a single question can swing $1 million deal, just like some small hinges can swing big doors. Most sellers, they overwhelm. Few of us understand leverage. Even fewer master precision. That long presentation could be one question. That feature dump could be 3 words or a picture. That hour pitch could be 30 seconds. I need to show everything, Mason, while 1 point could win. More information is better, while less could close. Cover all the bases while only 1 base matters. Home. As Sun Tzu knew, great results can be achieved with small forces. Your real power, it's not in volume, but in precision. Not in talking more, but asking right. Not in pushing hard, but pivoting smart. The greatest moves when small questions swing big doors. The perfect moment when 1 word changes everything. Stop overwhelming and start leveraging. Because true selling, it's not about how much you say, it's about what you ask. And if you want to master... Number 52, everyone's desperate to close every deal that moves. But here's the uncomfortable reality. Your desperation is costing you more than walking away. Most sellers chase, few filter, even fewer walk. That bad fit prospect, stealing your energy, that price haggler, eating your margins, that toxic opportunity, killing your spirit. But Mason, I need this deal, while better ones wait right around the corner. I can't afford to lose it, but you're losing yourself, bro. Have to hit quota while sacrificing standards? You see, as Sun Tzu knew, one mark of a great soldier is that he fights on his own terms or fights not at all. Your real power, not in closing, but in choosing. Not in persistence, but in standards. Not in never quitting, but in knowing when to. The greatest leverage, the power to walk away. The perfect position is when you mean your no. Stop chasing everything, start choosing worthy battles. Because not every hill is worth dying on. Because true selling, it's not about closing every deal, it's about closing the right deals. Number 53. Everyone thinks closing means pushing until the prospect says yes, but here is the paradigm shift. True mastery, it's removing the reason to say no. Most sellers push, few dissolve resistance, and even few of us eliminate objections before they arise. That hard close creates mile-high walls. That pressure pilch, it builds more barriers. That forceful follow-up strengthens their defenses. I need to overcome objections though, Mason, but you're creating new ones. Mason, I gotta push harder while they pull back further. Must win this battle while losing the war. As Sun Tzu knew, one need not destroy one's enemy. One need only destroy his willingness to engage. Your real power, it's not in confrontation, but in consultation. Not in overcoming, but in preventing. Not in pushing through, but in removing barriers. The greatest close, when there's nothing left to resist. The perfect sale, when no becomes irrelevant. Stop fighting objections, start preventing them, because true selling, it's not about winning arguments, it's about making them unnecessary. That's all I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did making it for you. These are quotes that have these are perspectives that have completely changed and radicalized the way that I sell, the way that I approach conversations, communication, marketing, all of it. And I really hope you get as much enjoyment out of watching this as I did recording it for you. So I love you all. Keep being awesome. There should be another video if you want to master the art of selling to women, because I can guarantee you if you treat women how you treat your bros, they ain't buying shit. All right. So there's an interview I did with a phenomenal copywriter. She's an expert at selling to women. Click up here to go watch that with Lana Sova. That way you can start making more money from the world's greatest powerhouse customer. And I'll see you over there.